Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make this circle peek through ZZ fold card, which is an awfully long name for how quick and easy this is, so the video shouldn't be as long as the name of the card. Circle peeking through. On the inside we've got a nice little ZZ fold card, but I think it's really nice and quick and effective. So without further ado, I'll get on and show you how to do it. We're using a lot of the new in colours, and I'm also using the Flowers of Beauty stamp set. Ooh, let me just reach it over. And the Unbounded Beauty Designer Series paper. So this is one I actually did a previous video with, this Designer Series paper, and I'd folded it. It was the Magic Fold card, the Mirror Fold card. And I found out after I'd done it that I'd folded it the wrong way. So I thought, well, I'm going to put that aside because it's going to be able to be used. And here we are using it up. So let me show you. It's a piece of standard size cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have a piece of Designer Series paper, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And then what I did was, by the magic of TV and all that good stuff, I took one of the deckled circle dies and I put it on and cut through both of the layers at once. So this is what popped out. The pretty and pink circle and the Designer Series paper all came out together because we wanted to be sure that the circle on the Designer Series paper matched what was on the front of the card. And then what I did was put the pink off to one side. I then ran the smaller die, I laid it on top of the circle and cut sort of a little border off, which we don't need. And then I cut another circle out of the Summer Splash. And the reason it's got this little post-it note is the decals, they're kind of just sometimes can be a little tad off. So I cut it the same way as this, and that is really just a marker for me to know that I've got it in the same place so it doesn't catch on the edges as we're making the card. The inside part is 8 by 5 1/4, and it's scored at 4 and it's scored at 6. And then it's folded in half and folded back on itself as per your usual ZZ fold. This time it's going to be to the right hand side of the card. So now let's get sticking some pieces together just so we can see how it works before we get on to the stamping. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the Designer Series paper. Match up the hole. I didn't want to stick it down because then I've got the circle, like I showed you, extra, and that can be used for a different project. I do want to just go ahead and fold it in half and run it with the bone folder as usual. And then the ZZ part of it just goes on the inside, and like I say, the ZZ part of it is to the right of the card. So standard layered sizes, standard adhesive, all that good stuff. And we'll just go ahead and attach that to the inside. So now when you open the card, this runs an extra little bit of fun. So I'll keep the front off to one side for now, and we'll decorate the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the pretty in pink ink and stamp the flower, and I'm going to stamp full strength the outside of the flower. And then, as you know, we can do a little bit of stamping off. So we'll take the 2-step, stamp it off on a scratch of paper, and then stamp it on the inside so you get the lighter refrain. So that's the pretty in pink done. Then I'm going to bring in the Summer Splash, and I'm just going to add a couple of the leaves. I'm just going to open it flat so we don't get any layers underneath. And I'm just going to put the scratch paper underneath in case I stamp off onto my working surface. Try and keep it neat while I'm doing videos. So we'll pop that one in that corner, and this one can come down in this corner, and it'll just be full strength. I'm not going to put the insides in, so we can close the summer splash away. And then the last thing we need to do is make the little greeting for the front. So I'm going to use Petunia Pop and bring that in. The greeting I'm using is a Thinking of You, which is actually a really old paper pumpkin. Oh, look at that. You see how it's got the ink on there, so I have to be very careful. So stamp that carefully, and then that will all wash off a little bit later. So we've got the Thinking of You. This was just a little 1/2 inch. When you're cutting things down into layers, you often get little 1/2 inch strips, and I like to keep some of them. I used to keep all of them, and then I was being overrun. So just a little piece of that, and then I did the same with a little piece of the summer splash, and now I just want to trim it down. So it's not any particular length. This is a 1/2 inch and this is 5/8, but really it's sort of pick your scraps and then make them fit. And actually that's not the same angle, so I'm just gonna, when you don't have a specific size, sometimes your eyeballs don't eyeball things exactly the same. So we'll pop a little bit of adhesive on the back of there and stick it on so the greeting is ready to go on the front. So now what we need to do is close the card, and you can see where the seam is, and I've got my little summer splash with the directional on. I'm going to put adhesive, oops, it wants to close itself, it's on strike perhaps. So only putting adhesive on the area that you can see within the circle, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick that in, and the decals of the circles should be able to let it come through. So we don't need this anymore, of course, so we can pop that out of the way. And then what I had left was the image of the piece that I cut smaller, so I'm just going to pop that into place just so I can see where it would have been, and then line up the image so it just flows. Put some adhesive on the back of there, and then we can more or less line it up into the right place, and then take the circle guide away because we don't need that anymore. And then last but not least, we just want to pop some dimensionals onto the back of the greeting. Peel off their backs and pop that on the front of the card. And there you have it, too, the same. So it's circle, peek through, ZZ fold card. So then when you open it, the pattern continues with the stamps that match the designer series paper, and there's lots of space for you to write your greeting. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. Give me a thumbs up, they're always appreciated. If you've got a question or want to pass a comment, you can pop those in the box below. All the dimensions and directions will be on my blog, so you can pop over to alysonstamps.blogspot.com to check those out. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.